Hello everyone, I'm Sean Williams from SquaredUp. Today I want to show you how to keep SCOM at the center of your monitoring strategy while solving some of those challenges most teams face. My goal is to help you provide some clarity, show the simplicity, and give every team the visibility that they need. Let's start with the world we're all living in. We're dealing with the same reality. More platforms, more tools, more data, Azure, Kubernetes, APM, physics, business metrics, every tool sees something. No tool sees everything. And leadership doesn't want alerts. They want answers. These are some of just the common problems that everyone deals with today. Let's be clear, SCOM is not outdated. It's specialized. It gives us deep Windows visibility. It has a mature management pack ecosystem. It's reliable, battle tested, and trusted. And it remains the authoritative source for infrastructure health. But SCOM needs a little help to see beyond Windows. It needs help to see the cloud, cost, APM, Kubernetes, and business signals like the observability buzzword we're all hearing about today. But let's be clear, most teams don't have a monitoring problem. They have a visibility problem. This is where enterprises get stuck. Monitoring is isolated, data is siloed, there's no network to app visibility, no customer perspective metrics, no hybrid correlations, teams that like to fight. This gap between what we collect and what we understand is what we call the visibility gap. So the question we normally ask, how do we close the gap? What we should first do is stop thinking in terms of point solutions and start thinking in terms of framework. We're not building another silo. It's a visibility layer above the tools you already trust. Keep SCOM, keep your context, share the data. Don't rip and replace what you already have. Just add a visibility layer that unifies everything on top of your existing infrastructure. So when I meet with customers, what I usually try to do is keep things simple and practical. I don't always explain the model, but I have a see, act, know, and plan model that I in the back of my mind. This is your operational intelligence lifecycle. Lots of buzzwords, but at the end of the day, it's just the simplest thing that you need to do. You already have the tools. Stop being reactive. Take what you have, put it to good use. Look, does it have what you need? Act on the monitoring, use it, know, and then plan for the next step. When you add the visibility on top, all of this rises to the surface and you stop worrying about the tools and the silos and the teams and the drama. Now, I'll be honest, I work for SquaredUp. I'm a little biased, but before I worked for SquaredUp, I was a customer, and I used SquaredUp as the visibility layer that unlocked SCOM. It connected to pretty much any data source at the time. REST APIs, Azure Monitor, APM tools, SQL, Kubernetes, whatever I could throw at it. It required no management packs. It didn't need any extra SCOM expertise. I just basically consumed the data, sent it to SCOM, and moved on with the rest of my day. In other words, this doesn't replace SCOM, it extends SCOM. And that's our goal here, is to keep SCOM at the center of our monitoring landscape. Bring all the things in so you can connect your people, share the data. Here's a quick diagram I put together showing the visualization stack that I spoke about earlier. Here I want to show your data sources on the top, the SquaredUp Cloud Platform, SCOM, and hopefully your happy users. Pretty much any data source, bring it into SCOM. Again, SCOM is the center of your monitoring landscape, and you share it with your users at the bottom. However, the secret sauce here are your service goals, the see, know, plan loop that I talked about earlier. This is where SquaredUp operates on what we call a customer-driven improvement loop, where every piece of feedback directly informs the next iteration of the product. So at its simplest, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So use that framework, talk to the visualization vendor, tell them what products you're connecting to, tell them how you're using the data. And if you can't do it today, can you do it tomorrow? Are there other ways of getting it? And this is where you have to have that virtuous cycle where you talk about your issues with your vendor. It's almost like a partnership, but It's more of a, like I said, just a customer-driven improvement loop. That's how you become successful and keep SCOM at the center. Let me talk about some real-world examples that we see every day at SquaredUp. We see our government agencies coming in and they take their SCOM health and their Azure cost data and they put it together for leadership so that they make sure that they meet their budgets. In education, there's a number of different uses there. We look at SCOM all the time and we combine it with SQL telemetry or their education systems and just put them together for dashboards that they can then share out with the rest of their teams. Enterprises or your mid-market, they take their SCOM data, they combine it with something else, APM traces, REST data. It really doesn't matter. These are just some of the normal patterns we see day to day that we're able to solve by keeping SCOM at the center and putting SquaredUp at the visualization layer. Before we get to a quick demo, I just wanted to show 3 slides of some dashboards that we've put together that when we are at a conference. This particular slide is what we call our data from anywhere slide. We show data from Azure Monitor, from AWS, from SCOM, all on the same dashboard. And this is just one way of putting all of those things together with SLAs, tiles, stars, grids. This particular dashboard is neat in that it's basically PowerShell and it reads from a text file and gives all of the different information. While SCOM isn't represented here, we could actually bring this data into SCOM with the Cloud to Dashboard Server connector, and then users could create their dashboards with PowerShell, give a health, and then send it to SCOM, and then you can alert on it in other locations. This is what I'm calling my SCOM and Friends dashboard. It's just 4 simple tiles. I'll demonstrate this during the demo, but I wanted to put it here just to give you a preview of what we're going to talk about. And this is how easy it is to put data on a dashboard and then put some health and then consume that. And again, keep SCOM at the center of your monitoring landscape. Now let's talk about the new SCOM plugin. It should definitely be familiar to anyone that uses SquaredUp's dashboard server. But in the cloud, we've simplified things even further so that now it's even simpler to use and faster. Again, SCOM stays the core. Cloud extends it. And this matters because it shows an ongoing investment in SCOM as we move to the future. All right, enough slides. Let's get into a demo. All right, here we go. So this is our workspace. We have an empty workspace at the moment. What we're going to do now is we're going to add some data sources. So we go over to the blue button, click that, add SCOM. We're going to go back and add another data source. This time we're going to add the SolarWinds. And then next we're going to add Splunk. And lastly, we're going to add VMware. So we now have 4 data set sources added to our workspace. We're going to show the plugin here for SCOM. Click on the dashboard button. We're going to go to data and we're going to just show off the new plugin. And we're going to click SCOM and we're going to click health. And here we go. So if you've used Dashboard Server, this should look really familiar. We have list, we have group, we have advanced, so you can pick your little in particular objects. We're going to do all Windows computers right here, just to show how they all come back. Ta-da, super easy. Over here at advanced, just like in Dashboard Server, we could choose group and then a criteria filter if we wanted to filter down at the SCOM side instead of at the browser side. Here we're going to put sand for our sandbox server, which is going to become key in a few minutes. And we're going to click done just to kind of show that those 3 servers were there. Go back to configuration and we're going to do list. And so this particular dropdown picks it from the browser. So or from the SquaredUp graph, I should say. So that's why it's a lot faster than it was. So if the objects are not imported into the graph, you have to go to either group or advanced. And then we're just going to show how it looks. Cool. And then there's some blocks. But what I didn't do was I didn't show off some of the other options. So let's take a look at that. We're going to go back in, and then this time we're going to take a look at alerts. This time, by default, alerts will just load. So you click alerts, here they are, no filtering needed. But if you want, you can choose list, group, advanced, just like dashboard server. And we have our filters. And instead of doing drop downs, we did the little click boxes. And you can click on those and see how they update dynamically. And I don't think I have any results here for this. No data there. We'll go ahead and remove that. Over here at time frame, you can then choose what you want your alerts to be filtered by, raised, time modified, things like that. Next up, we're going to take a look at metrics. Again, should be very familiar. We have the list, we have the group advanced. We're going to choose our sandbox server just as an example. And then we're going to click on the metrics tab. And whatever objects you have selected will go back and pull a list of object names, which is all of the different performance metrics. And then we can look at counters. And just like dashboard server, you can combine counters with the wildcard, or you can hard code them. But in this case, we're just going to do percent processor time. We have our sample resolutions, raw, hourly data, if you want to get into all that fun stuff. And then we just come up and choose our visualization, which is line. You can add a legend. We can add another server if we want. Ta-da. And if you want to choose different objects, not just Windows Computer, you can see that they were in the list there. That will go pull the extra server. And I think we can adjust the, you can do all of the normal things you can with a line graph. So here are all the different options. I forget which one we need to show each line on the graph at the moment, but it is possible to do. Yeah, all your normal options are there. Again, you can go to filter and grouping if you want, just like you normally can for all of your other different dashboards. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to health. We're going to build our SCOM at the center dashboard. And so what we're going to do is we're going to target 3 servers that make up our SCOM management group, just for as an example. So we have 2 management servers and a SQL server. And then as you hopefully saw in that list real quick, we were choosing the window computer object. We're going to add blocks. We're going to add them so that they're just 1 row per server. And we'll just add a second line for maintenance mode so we can tell if it's in maintenance mode or not. We're going to go ahead and save that. We're going to move that around. We're going to add another tile. This time we're going to add SolarWinds. Now, this is an interesting tile because I didn't know at the beginning what port my particular server was using. So someone had to tell me what was relevant for the port that my 3 VMs was talking out of. So I had to go look that up, and then here we'll find port 3. There we go. Click done, and then we don't really need anything fancy, so we'll just probably go with blocks. And again, if we had multiple ports, we could put them all here. So now we have on the same dashboard SCOM data and SolarWinds data. So now let's add some VMware data. Since we know that these are VMs, we'll use VMware, choose the health data stream. And again, we're just going to go look for virtual machines. We'll use our search functionality here at the top, select these 3 objects. Ta-da, this is their health in vCenter. We're going to make it layout just the same as SCOM. Cool. Now we also have some Splunk data. Now the Splunk data is a little interesting because I don't really know much about what we're collecting. I just know that I have some IP addresses and I want to see if there's anything that comes out relevant for that IP address. So what we'll do is we'll add a nice filter and we'll choose the raw column and we'll say that it contains, and then we'll start to type our IP address, which I have to go look up. There we go. And as you can see, well, that's kind of interesting. Nope, I think I made a mistake. What are we doing here? I remember, I'm using the wrong report. That always helps, doesn't it? So we're going to come back in. We're going to go to the parameters. And then we're going to choose the Splunk errors. There we go. Now, if I look, I should see the IP. Yep, it's already pulling back data. Perfect. So let's change the IP just to make sure. And there's the errors for that IP. Now, what we would do normally is, since we have 3 servers, we would use 3 IPs. But for just the sake of this demo, we're just going to pick one. If you had a particular port you wanted to look at, you could filter it that way too. But at this point, we're just going to do that one IP. We're going to save that. We're going to drag it around, make the dashboard look a little pretty. Ta-da. All right, so now we have a dashboard, 4 different plugins from 4 different sources, all in one screen, but it really doesn't help us because they're not really together. So hang on, we'll add a title. And what we're going to do now is we're going to add some monitoring. So behind my video is where we add a monitor. We're going to keep it on state. As you can see that we have one error state. And we're going to add that. We're going to add health state for the SolarWinds. Let that preview show up. That's a success. And we're going to do the same thing for the SolarWinds port. Not going to do this for the Splunk data. But now we can see that the dashboard health is red. We have the SCOM health red. We have the VMware is green and SolarWinds is green. So what you can do at this point is you can put all these different sources, put their health on, and then the worst state will roll up to the dashboard. And that's perfect. Now you have a dashboard you can share for your SCOM administrator so he knows that the server's running. Now this can get more complicated if you want. There's no need for it. And there's our demo. So what I just demonstrated was operational visibility. This is where you can bring signals together so the teams can act faster. Let me put a name to what we just saw. Observability. This is where observability is the context, metrics, logs, traces, business signals. Operational intelligence is the action, correlating those signals, reducing noise, and speeding root cause. SquaredUp Cloud helped with both. We're now able to take those tiles, PowerShell, SCOM, and put it together on one simple dashboard. But let me be clear. Keep things simple. Dashboards should answer the question, is the service healthy for customers, not which server has an alert. Now, it doesn't mean you can't target your server teams and give them a list of alerts, but when you're talking about a dashboard and keeping your teams engaged, you want to bring both of those things together so that they know what the urgency is. Here are the alerts. Here's how the system's behaving. Can we do both at the same time? And the answer is yes. So if you remember nothing else from today's presentation, please keep 3 things in mind. Keep SCOM, extend your visibility, unify your teams. These are just hopefully the simple takeaways from this entire presentation. Again, SCOM is not outdated, it's just specialized. Keep it at the center of your monitoring landscape. If any of what I said today resonates with you, book some time or give the plugin a try. Here are some links to some different resources to help you expand on what I have shared today. I want to thank you for joining me today. I hope this session was helpful and it helps you rethink about what is possible when you keep SCOM at the core and extend it with SquaredUp Cloud. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Have a good time.